Finals took place just 2 days ago with Thailand thumping Indonesia by a scoreline of 4-0. Now, despite the Garuda squad's commendable performance throughout the competition so far, the team now are left with a huge mountain to climb ahead of the second leg this Saturday. Now, if the country is ever to claim its first ever AFF Cup championship. Now, does Indonesia still have a chance of bringing home the trophy? Well, to find out the answer to that question, you're not going to get it from me. Let's connect right now with somebody who's more in the know, football analyst and founder of Box to Box Podcast Networks. Let's say hello to Pangeran Siahaan. Good morning. How are you doing, brother?
Good morning, Paul.
Thanks for joining us this morning. So let's talk about the first leg. It was the scoreline, I believe, is not too indicative of how the fans have actually received the performance of the Indonesian team. A lot of fans that I talked to were still quite happy with how Indonesia still fought, despite of not having a lot of ball possession at all, not having a lot of shots on target. What's your take on the first leg performance of the Indonesian team?
I think our boys started the match pretty nervous. I think the goal came in against us in the earliest minute that we haven't got ourselves in the match. And I think it really knocked up the spirit of our boys. And this having said that the Thailand already have a superior quality to our team. That I think it's really shown in the finals. And I think the lack of ball possession, and you know that how we have dominated the ball possession in previous matches, but we couldn't get a hold of the ball in the final against Thailand. I think it's really telling about the gap between the quality of our side and their side. But I think it's still a commendable spirit, as you said, and I think the performance in the second leg should be better rather than the abject performance that we saw in the first leg.
Right. We saw that a goal that was close to the halftime break was actually annulled due to being offside. Do you think that would have made a huge difference if Indonesia was able to get on the board right before the half? And would that have changed the coach's strategy, Shin Tae-yong's strategy, in regards to making mass substitutions at the break going into the second half?
I think Indonesia has, few chances that should have been scored. I think if we could scored 1 or 2 goals, I think in the matches, I think it's really gonna turn the tide of the match against them. But I don't think that the regular change that Shin Tae-yong did in that match really had an impact, because I think the one really significant change is Arhan Pratama on the left side. He couldn't play because he's suspended and he got replaced by Edo. I think Edo has a slightly different capacity in compared to Arhan, but Shin Tae-yong had no other alternative in that position.
Okay.
But other than that, I think the substitution that Shin Tae-yong did in halftime, I think pulling out Fahruddin, the central defender, and replaced by Elkan Baget, toned down our pace a bit in the back. And I think pulling out Ricky Kambuaya, arguably our best performer in the first leg, I think it also had a massive impact in the fluidity and the dynamics of the ball movement in our side.
All right. Now, we do know as well that going into this one, a lot of us already guessed that we would be playing very defensively in the first leg to try to, come up with a very narrow margin going into the second leg. Perhaps a 0-0 result would have been the best result for us to hope for, but instead it kind of backfired. Do you think it was a mistake to go in with this kind of defensive mentality in the first leg? Do you think it should have been done differently? Now, obviously, it's looking back on it, now that we know the score, it's easier to say that now, but what do you think?
I don't think Shin Tae-yong had his tactics wrong, because it would have been, better for us to sit even deeper, not to give up early goals to Thailand. But really, the goal in the first minute really changed the dynamics of the game. And, if we went out from the first leg, only conceded 1 or 2, probably even going 2 goals down, I think we would still have a bigger chance. But going 4 goals down without scoring any goal, I think, it's really, really a steep climb for our boys in the second leg. Well, as Indonesian, I still keep my spirits high. I think I'm pretty, confident and also excited in the progress of our players have made under Shin Tae-yong. But I also acknowledge that it's a very, very tough job, I think, in the second leg.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the second leg. I have beside me here the projected lineups that are going to play. What do you think we should be doing going into the second leg? Obviously, we're at a quote-unquote nothing to lose kind of position right now. Do you think the tactics should be different? And what do you think about the lineups that are projected to play?
Well, I think the one glaring gap in the first leg from our team is about how easy Thailand to cut deep through our midfield. It's easy. It's like nobody fight to get the ball from Thailand in the midfield, and also from their right side. I think it's very easy for them to cut through our left back and to send crosses and passes into our penalty box. I think our biggest chance, if we still gonna make it a tie in the second leg, is about how to get more confident and more braver, I think, in the final third of their defense, because there's few chances that we created in the first leg. 1-2 passes in the penalty box. I think we're still great at that. We also got a few decent chances from the counterattacks. We got two very, very good chances that we failed to convert from Irfan Jaya once, and also from Dewanga in the first leg. So that's something that we should do more to do counter, and also to put 1-2 neat passes to break their defense when we got the rare ball possession.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the Thai squad here, the War Elephants. Obviously, the team that was projected to be in the finals from the very beginning. It was actually projected to meet Vietnam in the finals, but they were grouped in the same group at the early stages, so that didn't happen. What should we be looking out for? We know that they can put goals into the ball into the back of the net. What are some of the key players that we need to be watching out for?
Of course, Chanatip Songkrasin, the number 18, the captain. I think he's the best player in Southeast Asia. He plays in Japan, and he's the only, I think, Southeast Asia player that ever made it to the Japan League All-Stars team.
Right.
So he's really a class apart from the other players in Southeast Asia. And also Supachok, the winger from Thailand. I think he really ran riot against us in the first leg. And these are two players that really pose problems for us, and I think Shintayo already knows to give more attention and to defend better against these two players.
All right, so I guess it would be hard for me to get a prediction of a score, because I never like to do that to people. Who knows, right, how many goals are actually going to be scored. But what are you expecting in this final second leg of the final game of the tournament?
I expect Indonesia to put better fight and to score goals. I don't really care about the result, because it's already an achievement for our young squad to make it to the final. But I think I want us to give a better fight and to make the nations cheer seeing them score a goal or two.
Yeah, it seems to be, I think that there is going to be reason to celebrate regardless at the end of this tournament for our squad. But we're looking at opposite ends of the spectrum. On one hand, Thailand is looking for their 6th championship in AFF Suzuki Cup history. And in the meantime, right now Indonesia is staring at a 6th possible finals defeat. However, I've talked to a lot of people about this, and I'm sure you're on the same page, that those 5 previous defeats look a little bit different. It feels a little bit different than this time around. You mentioned having young players on the squad. How does this actually look for us? Looking ahead now, new year, with this squad reaching an accomplishment. They weren't even projected to make the finals whatsoever, or even make it out of the group stage. And as you mentioned, it's a big accomplishment. What is next for this squad after the AFF Cup?
I want us to see, of course, Shin Tae-yong retain his position as the manager, as the coach of our national team, because nobody could take away from him that he really transformed the performance and the quality of our national squad. I also want to see that these young players, I think they have to get more experience. A few players already play abroad. I think I want to see the majority of this squad to have their career, at least for a few seasons, play maybe in East Asia, in Europe. I think it's really, really gonna, give positive impact to our squad if these young players could find their trade in foreign football.
Yeah, I love the fact that these young players, they're playing almost with a kind of more of a less pressure, as if you have plenty of senior players on the same squad. There's this hierarchy or seniority. One last thing, let's highlight a little bit about the couple of players here from Indonesia. These are just 4 of the players looking at their statistics as well throughout the tournament. Who are you going to highlight from the Indonesia squad to perform the best in this upcoming second leg?
Well, of course, Asnawi as the right back and as the captain, he has a very high work rate and his defensive prowess is really good. I think he made a goal and clearance in the first leg as well. I really want to see him inspiring the squad. But my other favorite player in the team, I already said about Ricky Kambuaya. I think his energy, his off-the-ball movement is really good. It's a shame that he had to be pulled out early. I want to see him last 90 minutes in the second leg. And, you know, just to see some magic from our offensive players, from Witan or from Egy. I want to see Egy starts actually because in the past 2 matches he only came in as a sub.
Right.
If Egy starts the match, I think it could be very different for us.
All right. Look, I can't wait for tomorrow's second leg. I'm sure you can't as well. We have plenty to cheer about regardless, and we have plenty to be proud of. So thank you so much for breaking down this final leg of the tournament for us. I hope you enjoy the game tomorrow. Happy New Year to you. I'm sure I'm not going to speak to you until 2022. But in the meantime, enjoy yourself tomorrow, and thanks for enlightening us on your insights. Pangeran, take care. It's great talking to you.